Welcome to Yin Yoga Lifestyle. I am your host, Colette Darville. Cultivating our body's resilience and inner silence and its application to all aspects of your life. Let's become enlightened and enjoy the power of intuitiveness and creativity. You are listening to Society Bites Radio, social interaction for the mind and soul. Hello, and thank you for joining us today. I am your host, Colette Darville, and this is Yin Yoga Lifestyle. So now let us take a deep, meditative breath. Inhale, so. Exhale, hum. Ramona Oliver at RamonaVMOliver.com has had a professional career that included being a passionate educator with roles as a human resource manager, director, career coach, and director of outreach. She championed the professional development of employees and led a team that designed and implemented an award-winning leadership program. In addition, she launched a workforce readiness program that partnered with community organizations to create new job opportunities. As a director of outreach for St. Edward's University, she promoted the adult undergraduate and graduate programs to older adults in the Austin, Texas community. In her mid-60s, Ramona became increasingly aware that while she and her circle of friends were continuing to live meaningful and purposeful lives, so many other older adults had bought into society's negative connotation about aging. That is all about decline and over the hill. She began to research science surrounding positive aging, including positive psychology, anthropology, and sociology. From there, she decided to add her voice to the conversation and write a book. Today, Ramona continues her role as an educator and serves as an advocate of positive aging. Rather than accepting a mindset of decline, she is passionate about living life with an attitude of incline. Her book, Inclined Elders, How to Rebrand Aging for Self and Society, has been recently published. Her book includes the stories of these inclined elders, people who demonstrate that embracing change and looking at life with a keener sense of curiosity will lead to living with increased courage to live life to its fullest. Inclined Elders is available on Amazon.com and also at RamonaVMOliver.com. Ramona is also a participating author for the virtual Miami Book Fair this year, and Ramona lives in Austin, Texas. Welcome to Yin Yoga Lifestyle, Ramona.
Thank you for inviting me on your show, Colette. I'm thrilled to be here.
I really wanted to ask you all about your journey, your personal journey that culminated into the writing of Inclined Elders.
Well, I've always been passionate about supporting individuals with their personal and professional development. This has been the common thread throughout my career. And now, as a septuagenarian, and yes, it took me a while to get my mouth around that word, this passion is directed toward positive aging. During my dive into researching the science, including positive psychology, anthropology, and sociology, I became so engrossed in the topic, I decided to write a book. The premise of Incline Elders is that for the first time in history, we're not only living longer, everyone has an important choice to make. Commit to a meaningful, purposeful life of incline as we get older, or believe that a new stage, one of steady decline, is inevitable. I interviewed over 50 men and women from various ethnicities ranging in age from 40 to 100. I found that many people were embracing their age and developed tips and strategies to ensure they were living a full and happy life. These incliners had the ability to discard their limiting beliefs and summon the courage and confidence to make the choice to continue to incline. Wow. My book includes their stories, and I've woven scientific evidence throughout to support their tips and techniques. Here are a few sample stories that I think you'll enjoy. At 94, Herb, who I call the eternal incliner, moved with his wife to an independent living community. On entering the dining room their first night, Herb looked around the room and declared to his wife, "Oh my God, there's nothing but old people here." I had the joy of attending Herb's 100th birthday last year, and he shared with me, with a wink in his eye, that he was still inclining. Galen, the magician, shared his magic illusion philosophy of life. He doesn't view it as a time of decline. His philosophy is carpe vitam, or seize life, rather than just carpe diem, or seize the day. At 70, his second career is as a magician, and he's having a ball. The amazing Miss Lee shares her recipe for living to 95 and beyond. Highlights include having a positive attitude and keeping the inner child alive. And Raymond tunes out the negative talk of decliners and follows the philosophy of not letting the old man in. He's an avid outdoorsman, and he shared that while he doesn't climb mountains anymore, he still enjoys hiking around them. It's simply a matter of modification.
I love that you read those stories. I felt like I could just sit back and listen to you read the whole book to me. Fantastic. Beautiful. Now, the structure of the book, and I was really interested in this. It allows a person to read it in its entirety. But then I thought about, I just picked up the book and I was sort of flipping through it. And I thought, it can be read as a reference guide as well, where the reader can choose a subject sort of that they find interesting. And I thought that was really a lot of fun and very informative. So did you plan that?
Actually, I did, and I'm so thrilled that you saw that it has dual purpose as far as reading through, or as what I set out to do, create a workbook. So that people can learn how to continue to live a meaningful and purposeful life as they age, to incline and continue to climb the hill physically and metaphorically. So the workbook is for people who have a desire to continue living a purposeful life no matter what their age, or they're interested in learning how to maintain a positive attitude from adulthood to elderhood, or they want to learn how to create a living legacy and serve as a role model for future generations. So the three parts of the book include attitude, which is the internal focus, what you need to change within you to lead a more inclined life. Then growth, the external focus, what you need to do to interact effectively with the external world. And 3, empowerment, which is the societal focus, what society overall needs to do to create lasting change. And you may note that the 3 parts, attitude, growth, and empowerment, the first letter of the word spells age.
Yes, I noticed that. Woohoo!
Yes, thank you. So, for example, one of the lessons in chapter 1, which is entitled Choices Matter, I outlined 3 of the primary conditions that promote a negative concept about aging, and I call them the calamitous C's. So they include complacency, conventionality, compliance. So in order to not be sucked in by the negative talk on aging, I recommend replacing them with 3 positive, constructive C's, especially if you're serious about living a life of continuous incline. And they include change, curiosity, and courage. So by embracing change and looking at life with a keener sense of curiosity, this will lead you to living with increased courage, a courage to live life to its fullest. So again, just a couple of stories to share with you to demonstrate how change, curiosity, and courage can have a positive impact on your life. At 50, Lee shifted her career as a secretary to becoming an international motivational speaker. How did she make this change? By turning her thinking upside down. And that's another story in itself. On retiring, Galen turned a childhood curiosity into a new career as a magician.
Wow.
And Kathy learned to laugh in the face of fear and mustered the courage to take a stand-up comedy class to overcome her fear of standing in front of a group of people and feeling like a jerk.
I love it.
So I follow through at the end of each chapter are personal reflection questions, which are relative to the material in that chapter. And then at the end of the book is a resource section that includes additional tools or ideas to consider as you start living your life of Incline.
Oh, wonderfully said. I love it. And today, the changes in the continuation of employment, sort of people from ages 55 to 79. I mean, the period during which many people stop working. Do you think this is related to changing characteristics? I mean, such as people are the healthier, increased education, or a financial necessity?
Well, actually, I'd say all of the above and more.
Right.
Of course, there could be some people where financial security may be a factor,
Mm.
but interestingly, the first decade of the 21st century has been marked by a dramatic interest and growing concern over an unprecedented human transformation, the global aging of human populations.
Right.
Unprecedented changes are occurring worldwide as fertility rates decline and there's a significant increase in human longevity. This has resulted in 20 to 30 years being added to previous lifespans for many. It's actually projected that those born today will have a 50% chance to live to 100 or more.
Right.
So one of the things that I compared and contrasted is that during the 20th century, a three-stage model of life was present. Very simply put, education, career, and then retirement. However, this life stages model that revolves around a set of rigid, linear, predetermined stages is really outdated. The evolution of a more fluid, resilient life course model is more appropriate. You needn't accept that we're all doomed to move like automatons from one rigid life stage to another.
Right.
You can choose to make changes in your life. So you can transition to new careers, turn a passion into a new business or pastime. Many of the inclined elders included in my book did just that. They invented, and rebranded themselves, sometimes more than once, and that includes me. So how were these incliners able to make changes and reinvent and rebrand themselves? For some, a strong curiosity or interest in an area they had developed into something bigger. For others, a matter of further education to reinvent themselves and explore new opportunities. But for all, there was an underlying common thread of a strong belief in being able to make the change, a commitment to lifelong learning and taking a leap of faith at times to make the move. They used a hobby, a passion, further education, or a combination as leverage to make the move.
Yeah, yeah, and many people are doing that these days. I mean, so we can actually use your book and the examples as inspiration, I would think, and
Absolutely.
I mean, it just is wonderful. Now we live in such a social media world, where making connections seems effortless and yet removed, right? Because we're doing it over the phone, we're doing it on all these social network platforms. Now, this is a question that I have always wondered. Do you think elders today can teach many how to really connect to others?
Yes, I really do. And I found this a very interesting question because I think that's critical to the premise of my book as well. My experience has always been that elders who have a positive attitude and mindset about aging, specifically inclined elders, appreciate the importance of social connections with people of all ages. They understand that social engagement has profound implications for well-being, including self-esteem, physical and mental health, and overall life satisfaction, and that older adults may suffer more than younger adults from a lack of social interaction. And yet it's been interesting over the past year with the advent of COVID. We're all now familiar with the term social distancing, shelter in place, or for older adults in nursing homes, lockdown, with no social contact with family or friends. We're told that older adults are more at risk or vulnerable because of their age. And while there is, of course, merit to this claim due to potential for greater health issues, again, the inclined elders I know have maintained their social connections. Probably most of them had never heard of Zoom before, but they're all Zooming with family and friends.
Right.
And I can't emphasize enough, too, the significance of intergenerational social connections.